welcome back to Shelabobby Handmade. My name is Caitlin, known just about everywhere on the internet as Shelabobby, and this is my podcast where we talk about knitting, crochet, yarn, all of the fun stuff. Today I have a typical podcast for you. I have some finished objects, have some works in progress, have some acquisitions, and for the first time ever, a make-along. So yeah, I think I'll start with the make-along. So if you have followed me for any length of time, you know that I love summer sock camp. June, July, and August, summer sock camp is my entire personality. The end. Just period. Just I make socks all the time. Everyone expects me to make socks all the time, and it is my entire personality. If you follow Kayla, or Kay, of the Crazy Sock Lady, she announced that she is not going to be hosting the summer sock camp this year, and while disappointing, understandable, she has some really awesome life events and stuff going on that is going to take over. And so this year I sat for a while after watching the video where she announced it and thought, well, what am I going to do? Who will I be? For those entire 3 months, what will happen? I am not a summer girly. Today it was 93, it's still 93, and I hate it. Like, you can tell my hair is big. I've had it up all day to get it away from me. My face is red because it's hot and I hate it. And we usually have a lot of things to do on the weekends. Like today we went to Sam's Club and to the grocery store and to Tractor Supply, and it's hot and I hate it. But summer sock camp gets me through. So I had already kind of talked to you guys about summer sock camp, how I was going to try and make a video at the end of May, organizing my sock yarn and seeing what I wanted to cast on first. I usually do a wind up yarn and have several skeins ready. So anyway, there's no summer sock camp this year, and so thinking about it, I was talking to my mom about it because she knows that summer sock camp is my entire personality, and she was like, just do your own. And I was like, well, that sounds so much simpler than it actually is. But isn't it just as simple as having a make along with you guys? So I am going to start a make along that will cover us, those of us who are going to need some summer sock camp alternatives for this year. So I talked to Charlie. Charlie is my rabbit. I will put a picture of her here. This is Kevin Charles, aka Charlie, and she has agreed to look at everyone's socks that want to participate. So I would like to start a make along with you guys, inspired by summer sock camp, and just to get us through this summer, and hopefully next year Kay will be able to host hers again and we can all collaborate back over there. But yeah, so here's some details about that make along. If you are not interested in the Charlie's Sock Hop is what it's going to be called. Charlie's Sock Hop. I love it. Anyway, if you're not interested in the make along, that is okay. Please go to this time here if you want to skip all of the make along information and just get straight to the finished objects. But if you are interested in the make along, it's very, very simple. It's going to start on May 24th. I picked that because I'm going to have the entire next week off, and so I can start that weekend and just kick it off with making some socks, casting on all the socks, planning my sock knitting for the summer. So May 24th, and it will end August 31st. So it'll go all the way, finishing up May, June, July, and August. All of those months are counted. The rules: any handmade sock. So that can be crochet, that can be knit, it can be any size, it can use any weight of yarn, whatever you want to do. Just have fun making socks. That's really the only rule. And if you have socks on the go that you want to finish, those count. Like, whips are allowed in it. And yeah, just hop in and have fun. There are 2 ways to participate. Ravelry. I have created a Ravelry group, and I will have a chatter thread. I have to figure out how to do that, so forgive me if I make any mistakes, but I'm going to create a chatter thread, and the Ravelry group will be created below or linked below, and there'll be a chatter thread that you guys can start chattering in, and then I will do a FO thread on the 24th. It will open up on the 24th, and you can start posting your finished socks. Even if you just have to sew in your ends on the 24th, it still counts as a sock. And counts for the make along. So those two will be on Ravelry, and I understand that Ravelry is not for everyone. So Instagram is another way that you can participate as well. So you can use the hashtag, and you can use the hashtag anywhere. You can use it on YouTube. You can use it anywhere that you are talking about the make along. The hashtag is going to be Charlie's Sock Hop, and that has 2 S's. So make sure you have the 2 S's, and you can tag me on Instagram. You can tag me on Instagram, which is Shelabobby, and you can let me know that you have completed any of the socks or even your works in progress if you want to. All of those will count towards the make along. If you don't have Instagram, you don't want to use Ravelry, that is okay. That's absolutely fine. You can also send me your socks on email, shelabobbyhandmade@gmail.com. I'm going to double check that email. I wrote it down, but now that I said it out loud, I can't remember if there's a period. So please check below. I'll try and put it on the screen here as well. You can send me your finished pictures there as well, or works in progress. Whatever you want. Send me your pictures. I'm going to show them all to Charlie. I'm going to have like every other day, even every day, depending on the participation. I'm going to sit there and show Charlie all of your socks, and she will judge them very harshly. If you have ever watched my Vlogmas, you know that Charlie is very opinionated in a lot of things, but she loves socks. She saw every pair of socks that I ever made for like 2 years. Like, I would bring them out there and have her sniff every single sock that I made. So she's a sock connoisseur. So that's technically 3 ways that you can enter. So Ravelry, Instagram, and email. And why am I saying enter? That means that there are going to be prizes. For now, I am going to just draw randomly from those 3 places, and the participation is going to determine how many prizes that there are. Right now, I know that I want to at least do one for each month, and those are going to be pattern prizes, and I'll give you more information on that after it starts. But that is the plan right now. So the more participation we have, the more prizes there will be. All right. So that is the make along news. If you are interested in joining that, let me know in the comments below, just so that I can know that there's going to be friends there. And yeah, that's the plan. That's the make along. So Charlie's Sock Hop will keep us busy making our socks in the summer in lieu of summer sock camp this year. All right. That went faster than I expected. Good, good, good. All right, finished objects. The first one that I have is one that you have not seen. So I actually started this the night that I recorded my last podcast. I kind of alluded to it. This is a small blanket that is going to be used for a very tiny little dog named Lucy. My friend Pupster, who I made the socks for, he has a dog named Lucy. She's very tiny, about Charlie size. And yeah, so I wanted to make a blanket. And if you see these colors, they are the same colors that I made Pupster's big giant blanket from. I had leftovers and pulled those out to make this blanket. So the blanket is the spoke flower blanket, and it is a free pattern. The designer is the Crochet Fix. I will have the Ravelry page linked below, and try to link the pattern as well, but I think it was a PDF. I can't remember. I've been doing a lot of free projects lately, or having a lot of PDFs open, so I can never remember which ones are blogs and which ones are PDFs. But Yeah, so I started this May 4th and finished it May 5th. So it only took me 2 days to make this. It was very quick, very easy, and yeah, it was a fun pattern. So there's 3 different options in the pattern where you can use different increase methods, and you can have a rounded flower, a pointed flower like I have here, petal, or you can have even more of a pointed petal. It was flower and petal mixed together. You can have an even more pointed one that's more like a star. So I did the original petal shape, and yeah, this used up like 220 grams of yarn really quickly, so that went towards my stash countings. The colors that I used, I do not remember all of them. I know that this is a light gray, this is light green, this is olive green, this is light blue, this is denim blue, I believe. And that is Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn. Okie dokie. I think that's it for that one. All right, sorry I keep looking down at my notes. I have a lot written today, especially for the make along notes. The next one are my ghoul socks, which you also haven't seen. So these are some DK weight socks. Let me get them all straight on the sock blockers. Very bright. These are DK weight vanilla socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. The colorway is Ghoul So Confusing. Yep. Ghoul So Confusing by Super Glow Fibers in her Confetti DK. And I made these for my grandma. I was actually making them when we picked her up from my aunt's house in Raleigh. And I was like, Grandma, do you like this color? And she was like, yeah, it's good. I like that blue. And I was like, good, because they're yours. So I still would need to add the dots to them for her. But yeah, these are completed. Let me see the notes on this. So I started these on May 7th and finished them May 13th. I do the 56 stitch count, which is the largest size in the pattern, and I use US 3. I cannot remember what that is in millimeters, sorry. Yeah, that's all for that. So another pair of socks for my grandma in her bag. I actually took one out for Mother's Day and gave her those. So that's the idea for those. When I am making her socks, I put them in a bag and then randomly pick one out. So that is it for that finished object. The next one is my Antonia Socks, which you have seen. It's either Antonio or Antonia. Each one is listed on my label, or at least Antonio is listed on my label. But when you look up this color number, it's like, no, not going to focus. When you look up this color number, it actually says Antonia on Ravelry, so I'm not sure the exact color name. And I'm sorry, my tag is rough. It's kind of deep stash. So this is Regia Perfect. And I finished them. These are extremely long. I think this is probably one of the longest socks that I have ever made. But I made these for donation. So the plan is that I will make a couple of objects, socks, cowls, scarves, hand warmers, hats maybe, to donate in the winter. I already have an organization that I am interested in donating to. So that is the plan. So these will be the first installment to that. So if you are not familiar with Regia Perfect, how that works is it is one giant ball of yarn that you start at one end. It has a little yellow strand. You start the sock there, and then you just do certain things when the color changes. So when the color changes to the pink, you start the leg of the sock, and then when it changes to this gray, you do the foot or the heel, and then you do the toe. If you can see, I started on the gray almost 10 rounds before I actually needed to start the toe. So lots of room, and I think I had 8 grams left for each sock. So I had 16 total left over, but yeah. And those are just vanilla socks with my own recipe. Dates are April 20th is when I started them, and I finished them May 16th. So they took me a little while. Regia yarn is fairly rustic, and so I was also using 9-inch circulars. So when I use 9-inch circulars, my pinky rubs really harshly on the yarn, and so it was a little uncomfortable with that more rusticy yarn. So yes, I use US 1.5s, 2.5 millimeters in circulars. I have to go up when I'm doing circulars. All right, that looks like all for my finished objects. Next is works in progress, and I have a couple socks, a blanket, and a random houseware. All right, let's start with my Onyx Blaze socks. So that is living in my chicken bucket bag. I do not remember who this bag is by, and there's no name on the bag. So I will look this up on Etsy. I know that's where I got it from. So I will link it down below on where I got this bag. But it is perfect for this sock because there are 2 skeins of yarn. So I'll show you what I'm knitting with first, and then we'll go through the pattern. So I am using Granite Mountain Fiber Co. I'm using 2 different colorways, Blaze, which is the orangish red, and then I am using Onyx, which is the black, for the 2 colors. And these are those colors. I got these in March from the Southeastern Fiber Fair, I believe. I always get SAF and that one mixed up, but this is the one that was in March. So yeah, my black is completely unwinding, and I do not know why. It just keeps, every time I do a layer, it just falls off. But anyway, I am working on the Daedalus socks. And I am currently working on the heel flap of sock 1. So these are mosaic socks. The designer is Roro and Cades, or Kelly Menzies, and she has a cozy toe Mal. I don't know why that was so hard to say. Where she does one of her patterns every 2 months, and has a make-along for it. So this is the make-along sock for May and June. It is, like I said, mosaic, so it's not color work. You're not holding 2 strands at one time. You're basically doing slip stitches, and it looks intimidating. I will agree. It looks very intimidating when you look at it, but it is really easy and very potato chippy. Like, you just want to do one more repeat. You just want to do one more row just to get to the next color and see how that yarn bounces back and forth. But yes, so that is my sock in progress. I'm doing these on US 1's Magic Loop, and I'm doing the second size in the pattern. I believe there's 4 in total, and I'm doing the second size for my sister. That is just who is the recipient of these socks. I usually make a lot of socks for my sister. If you're new here, that is something that happens often. All right, something that doesn't happen often is my next work in progress, and these are socks for myself. So I finished up the Ghoul socks and the Antonia socks, and we're ready to cast on a new one, and this was the next yarn that I had wound up. So this is Ruby and Roses, in her soft rose. Oops. This is the Villager colorway, which was the day 25 colorway in her advent for 2024. This is it in the cake. And I just started, let's see, I don't think I put the dates on here. I think I just started this, if not last night, then the night before. So it is fairly new. And I worked on this today. And finished up the cuff while we were driving to Sam's and worked on the leg. So yeah, that is a pair for me. That's the first sock. So haven't gotten very far. And it lives in my Barley Pearl chicken sweater bag. One of the cutest bags that I own. It doesn't want to go back in. It's like, no, work on me. There we go. All right, so that is the socks that I have on the go. The next work in progress that I have is my Anthology Throw by Helen Stewart. It lives in my Chippendale bag from Disney. And I got a little bit done on this. So this is using Ruby and Rose's 2024 Advent. So these are the mini skeins. And let me see if I can find the marker of where I was last time. So that marker is where I was last time. I finished up that colorway and have actually started on the next one. It's a little bit hard to tell because the color is pretty close in the colorway before, but I'm a row or two into that. So this is getting big, and I'm excited. This is one that when I opened up this Advent that I just knew it was meant to be an anthology throw. So not too much work goes into this. I'm trying to pull it out a couple times a week and at least get a row or a round on, because it's going to take a while, especially as they get bigger and bigger. Those rounds are going to take more and more time. But I believe I'm on day 8 out of 24. Yep. And then if I have some of the Villager left over, I'll add that in on the end. But it doesn't technically match the last color, which is a red, I think, if I remember correctly. So that's an ongoing project. And I did not touch my Go-Go Throw or start the new blanket. So all of that is still to come. The last work in progress I have is all tangled up in my Daedalus socks. This is a plastic bag holder. So if you are from the 90s, you know the little plastic bag holder that hung in your grandma's closet, probably bigger than this one, but yeah, we have one, but it's often full and we need to refill. We usually have bags hanging on the side where we do Charlie's cleanup. That's what we reuse our bags for, is doing litter for Charlie or chicken cleanup, that sort of thing. But yeah, I figured we needed a new one. So I had my mom pick out a color and I'm just crocheting this. This is using, I didn't bring the tag over, this is using Knit Picks Dishy in the colorway Inlet. And from the pattern, which is the Plastic Grocery Bag Holder by Kylie Keller. It's a free pattern written on her blog. She also has a paid for PDF. It should only use one skein, according to her. So I did most of that last night. I think I cast it on last night. I can't remember if I did the night before or if it was that night. There's been a lot of Dress to Impress. We've talked about that. And so sometimes my nights get all mixed up of what night I did Dress to Impress. And I know I worked on that last night well into 10 o'clock. Stayed up late working on that. But I think there are 5 puff stitch sections. And so I'm about to start the next one. So I think that will get done fairly quickly. Maybe I'll work on it tonight. All right. That's all the works in progress. I feel like the make-along talk took longer than the rest of the podcast, but I knew it was going to be a shorter one today just based on what I worked on and the items that I had. I didn't touch any of my cross stitch. I think we're in a down dip with that. I don't really have too much interest in picking it up and working on it. I still love watching it on YouTube, so we're still into it. I would rather work on my socks or my blankets or random housewares. All right, so acquisitions is the last segment that I have for today, and we have some yarn. When I say some yarn, I don't need any help. I can sabotage me all by myself. That is a Paramore song that I sing every time that I get yarn in the mail. No, I love the art of buying yarn. It's completely different than using it. I like to collect yarn. So anyway, and I'm still doing pretty well on my in versus out. I am on path, on track. We ain't worried about it. So this is my Fangirl Fibers myths, cryptids, myths, and legends. I always want to mix cryptids and myths around. Cryptids, myths, and legends. This would be April's colorway. I always get confused because the Fangirl Fibers come in the next month. Like, they're shipped right at the end of the month, and so they come in the next month. So I don't know if that means that this is May's colorway or if it means that it was April's colorway that just came in May. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is the colorway for this month, and I love it. I will likely make my sister a pair of socks out of these ones because it is Bigfoot, and we always make some jokes about Bigfoot. We have a book about Bigfoot and that we bought together, and it's a thing. So Bigfoot socks gonna be coming for my sister. Typically I make the Fangirl Fibers monthly for my grandma, not for my sister, but this one has to be. And then I don't remember who I was watching. I tried to rack my brain before I started recording, but I was watching a podcast and they were talking about, it's a Canadian podcaster, because this is a Canadian dyer, but I cannot remember who that person was that I was watching. But they bought a colorway, which I'll show you last, in fiber to spin. And I was like, if they have that in yarn, I need it. I need it. So I bought it. And then they had a mystery pack. Of course, I am all for a mystery pack. So this is what I got in said mystery pack. So 2 of them are unnamed and 1 of them is named. So this is Bramble Ridge, which I had never heard of before, but they had the 2-ply, 3-ply? It's not 4-ply, it's 2-ply. 2-ply sock yarns. So this is 8515, which is one of my favorite bases. They are from Mission, BC. And yeah, so this was one of the first mystery colorways. And then this one is also unnamed, which is just a good, like, peachy cream. It's very much more pink than just solid cream. There it is next to the yellow. And then this one is KCV23. Don't know what that means, but I loved this green color in there. So this was the mystery pack. And then I saw this one, which I do not know how to pronounce whatever word that is. But this is actually DK, and this has some nylon in it, which I find really difficult to find. As far as like hand-dyed yarns, most DK weight yarns don't have nylon in them. But this one does. It's at 8515. And it is whatever that word is. But I saw this and thought of my grandma. So I picked that up. And then the colorway that made me visit this site is this one. And it is a little bit different than the fiber. I will pop a picture of the fiber right here that this colorway does. But this is called The Price of Eggs. And I believe it was the show colorway for whatever fiber festival that podcaster went to. And yeah, I just saw it. It reminded me of just that, a package of Easter egg colored eggs, and the joke in it as well, the price of eggs. So I picked that up for most likely socks for myself, just so that I can enjoy the pun. All right, that is all I have written down. So if you are going to join me for Charlie's sock hop, please let me know down below in the comments. It's just a calm, chill make-along to get us through the summer without Kay's make-along, just to have a little bit of that community feel. I was never really one to message in the Ravelry groups or things like that other than my finished objects, but I did love to scroll through and see all of the finished socks. I found a lot of patterns that way, so I am excited to see what the community makes, and see how much fun we can have. So yeah, join me for that. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope to see you next time, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We just recently hit 500, and yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you next time.